All right, so today we're going to work on the memory game. And this one is going to take some time to do, honestly. If y'all finish this by the end of today, it's going to be like a huge accomplishment. So that's how like difficult it is. It will help if y'all already saw the videos, so that would be like a big help. Um, Let me quickly show y'all the memory game. And actually, before I get to the memory game, I want to give you a quick preview of another app that I'm building in the for the course. So I have like a game here at the bottom. You basically have like two ninjas or whatever, and on your side, you're not gonna see it because I didn't upload this yet. You basically click it, and then you set like each ninja's like attack. Like I'll say like the attack is, and it has to be out of like 100 total points. So if I do 45 here, which remaining is 55. So I'm gonna put like some defense, and I'm gonna put like some speed, say 25. Then I'm gonna set the attack, speed, and defense of the samurai also. Say 30, um, 30, and the speed I'm gonna say 40. The attack determines like how powerful they are. The defense is like how much they can block, and the speed is them like actually dodging the hit. So if I press enter, you're gonna start to see them start to animate. They're actually like attacking each other. The red is like them getting hit, and if they're not red, that means that they dodge the attack basically. And it's basically just like a game. It teaches you how to animate, and yeah, just something I'm putting together, and it uses a concept that we didn't learn yet. If I open up the console, I have like all of their attacks being logged. Like I have like the stats of each here. So okay, Nice Ninja. His name is Nice Ninja, and the other one name is Swift Samurai. So yeah, Nice Ninja attacks Swift Samurai. Swift Samurai was hit, and it shows like their HP every time like an iteration goes by. So yeah, just a quick preview of what we're going to do. And we're going to do this project in the class also as soon as I get this uploaded, most likely towards the end. So yeah, um, yeah, that's that preview. And um, let's
Can
go
you
to,
tell us what it uses?
yeah. So
Or just
it uses something called object-oriented programming. Um, and object-oriented programming deals with JavaScript classes. We haven't done like classes yet. And classes are basically like a quick, like high level. Classes are just like objects, except they're like a template for an object. So like if you, for example, have like a bunch of cars, and all cars have like names and years. For example, if you was to create an object for that, like for each car, let's say you had 100 cars, that means you had to write the regular way, you have to create an object for literally each car. And that can contain like a bunch of information. But with classes, you're able to make a template, and then you reference the template and give it the values that you want. So the type of car is Ford, and then the year is 2014. So instead of doing that big object that you would normally see, you would just use a one-liner and then have the template fill out the rest of the stuff for you. Um, and I'm basically using that template to make different fighters, because these are two different fighters, and I have a template for like a battlefield, and the battlefield controls the fighters. It tells them to attack each other, and it has all the logic in it where like attack, it'll dodge depending on some logic, it'll hit them depending on some logic. It's basically, yeah, basically templates just kind of like working with itself, working through all the logic itself until it finishes off, until one of their HP hits 0, of course. So
So does an object with key value pairs do the same thing?
yeah, it can do the exact same thing, but you write more code. So that's the
yeah. Is it just like the last where you showed us where it's just going to be like code on top of code with the object? where that's pulling it out and just cutting it down, right?
Right. So to look at like the code really quick, like I have like an object. I'm gonna minimize this so we can see it full screen. This is like the whole battlefield right here. And this class defines there's something called a constructor. The constructor sets up the code, and then it has a bunch of methods. And you can see we're not using arrow functions here. It's just a function, but it's a method inside of an object because this is technically still an object, but a different type of object. And I define like the fighters here. This sets up the code. These are other functions calling each other. um, Different functions in here that does the exact same thing, basically just call each other. And this is where, if I go down to the bottom, this is where I set up both of those fighters. One is a ninja and one is like a samurai. But like the ninja and samurai itself is also a fighter. So it's the equivalent of saying like what's the analogy? There's like a common analogy. It's like saying everyone, if you think of like animals, for example, right? All like mammals, let's say like we have a lot of different type of mammals. Like a dog is a mammal, a cat is a mammal, for example. This is like saying, okay, like a samurai is a fighter. I mean, a ninja is a fighter, a samurai is a fighter. But if we was to say mammal, we would say, okay, like a cat is a mammal, a dog is a mammal, a human is a mammal. Like there's like a different hierarchy. And like with classes, you can like make those connections. So it goes a little bit like deeper and further into it. But classes are really nice and they're used in games. Like if you was to build a game, like they're using classes all through. So it's something to know from if you ever wanted to build a game, or I mean, or just if you was to write your code this way, it works as well. So yeah.
That's
But
cool. I really like it.
yeah, it's nice. Like you can make like a whole like RPG with it. Like have a few healers, have a few like an enemy, have people coordinate with each other, have like attacks defined. You can like interact with it, different attacks. You can have like different swords at that point. Remember how I said like a cat is a mammal, a dog is a mammal. You can have like a sword class, and then like you have different swords, like a ninja sword or I don't know different sword names, but you can have a whole bunch of sword categories. So you can give your fighter a different sword. The fighter can like hit depending on the power of the sword and stuff like that. Like all of this stuff is done with classes. So it's a big it's something really nice to know, and it's fun whenever you start to really like build games and stuff like that. So
I know, it reminds me where it's like category and then like subcategory and like breaking it out that way.
right, exactly, yeah, yep. Category, subset, yep. You can different hierarchies. You can really sky's the limit with it. I don't normally use classes to well, I do use classes, but not in the way I see it here most of the time. Um, but like it's used like if you're getting a job and you don't know about classes, they're gonna look at you like, yeah, you like you probably not qualified. So like classes are like a big thing. Like knowing how to interact with them is like important, very important, because you use different aspects of it whenever you do code. Even though I don't work with it all the time, when I do work with it, I'm not able to solve a problem if I don't know how it works. So um, that's that. Um, let me. All right. So with the memory game, and I could have made a memory game with the classes also. I could have made all these games with the classes, but I didn't want to give too much at once. Um, but yeah, this is a memory game. We're gonna start from scratch, and y'all can like work on it throughout the class, and then towards the end of class, if y'all not already done, I'll give a quick solution for it. So it's a memory game. You hit start, and then it goes to this like directions screen here. After it does that, you click the screen again, and then the computer tells you which box to click. So I'm gonna click this because the computer told me to click that box. And then like it basically tells me like a sequence of boxes to click. And you can also see that every time I complete the sequence, the number in the middle goes up. So a lot of concepts that's used here is the ability to save, um, like or build upon a pattern, and then the ability to keep track of a number. Also set timeout is used here, because you can see that there's different like intervals, like there's probably like a half second in between each thing. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. But I'm gonna let y'all get to it. And to download it, y'all can download the starter code. If y'all cannot look at the final code, it will be good. but if y'all do look at the final code, like it's fine also, as long as you know how to explain like what's going on. So like, yeah, let me quickly show y'all how to download it. I know most of y'all already know. Let me go to, hold on, let me pull up the course. Let me here, let me share my screen again. So basically you will, well, hold on, let me go to the view that y'all want to see. So just loads. This is the view that y'all going to see. And you basically just go down to section, which section is it? So section 13, project 8, memory game. You can open that up, and then the starter code is here inside of this first resources folder. You can just click on it to download it. And if y'all do want to see go through the final solution together, like you're free to do that as well. I don't want y'all to feel restricted. As long as y'all able to like look at the code and explain what it's doing, that's all that really matters. But I mean, starting with the starter code first would probably be the best route. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And Duran, did you still want to share your screen?
That's no 4,000, Isaiah. Nah, I'll share my screen.
And I'll be here, of course. Like, I don't want to limit y'all with like a number of like questions y'all can ask me. Anytime you have a question, I'll be here to answer it. So
Basically she said start with the
yeah, that yeah, starter dot, it should be inside of resource folder, starter.zip. It's in 123, the number 123.
Yeah, got it. Hold on. All right.
Did we freeze?
Damn, that's the wrong one.
It's showing your folder. I don't know if you know, like it's showing like the full screen, like the file opener thingy, whatever it's called.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see your code now. Yep.
All right. I done downloaded it.
Isaiah, quick question.
Yeah.
So if I ask it like this. So for example, we have check boxes.
Mhm.
Can we format those check boxes? Is there a way to format check boxes?
Yeah, to make them like kind of look different.
Yeah.
Um, it's
For
really
example.
it's hard to format them. Like
Okay.
yeah, I know. So I know that not every CSS like thing works on them, right? So normally, whenever you see a checkbox that like looks a little bit different, like on a website, normally it's not actually a checkbox. Normally it's just a div, and they put a picture, they put an image inside of it when you click it to make it look like a checkbox. Because checkboxes, you can't really style them too much. Not everything works on them.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna, you probably know what I was going for.
Now what? Yeah, what was
I
you?
was gonna ask if that was like a big check box, and
Oh,
basically you was, you know,
oh, okay.
if
Yeah,
checked, etc., etc.
yeah. I see. Oh, for the memory game. No.
Yeah, for the memory
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
yeah. They're just divs. I use divs for everything. Like I don't even put buttons. I don't even use the button tag. I use a div. Like, um, yeah.
A bunch of on clicks.
Right. Exactly. Even those buttons are divs. I'm pretty sure they're divs. Like that start button. Let me double check. I can't see myself putting like a button tag. Yeah, it's definitely a div. Yeah. Yeah. Because buttons, when you put buttons in there, you have to undo the styling in order to style them. Like they have their own default styles. And it's like I don't feel like undoing styles. I'm just gonna style a div.
Mm,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But I would say the downfall with that is whenever you start doing SEO type stuff, search engine optimization, because Google will read the different tags on your website, and if it matches what the person is looking for, then it shows it. For example, if we use like paragraphs, I can use paragraphs for all text if I want, but there's also the option to use head tags, like the H tags. And Google looks at H tags whenever it looks up like a topic. And it's like if I don't have those H tags, then my search engine optimization is going to be relatively lower than someone that had head tags.
Mm,
That's the point of using the different tags. But literally everything can be a div. Like even input boxes can be a div. Like some people don't even know that everything can be a div. So yeah.
it makes sense.
Mhm.
It sounds like it'll be a little bit hectic to make an input box a div.
Well, yeah, no,
Yeah.
a div, you give it a CSS property. It's like I forget the name of it, but it's like to make it writable. And then you can like click on it, and then like you can write like on top of it. So it's exactly like an input box. I forget the exact CSS rule, but if I do a quick search, I'm pretty sure I can find it. But yeah, um, divs can make up anything,
That's
mostly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I
Oh
remember.
yeah, with it, Ryan.
I downloaded the starter file, dog, but it's not in here. Man.
Is that's
yeah,
not it?
yeah, memory.js. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, I thought we were supposed to start with the code though. In the first,
Oh, you would rather start with the code than you can start.
I thought that's what you were saying we were supposed to do. And then the first game one joint, that's the memory code, or is the one at the bottom has the one with the code fitting?
No, so no, I was saying you can so the memory.js is empty now. You can either start off with a blank screen and try to make it work, or you can start off with the code inside of there and then like go through it and try to understand what all the code is doing.
I got that part. I guess I think what I did is memory one has the blank file in it, right? Memory nine has the one with the code filled in. Is that right?
So memory 1 and memory 9. I'm not sure. Oh,
So
okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, part 1, yeah. Part 1 got the link code, and part 9.
okay, that's where I messed up at. I was downloading part one thinking that it's gonna have the code in it when it's part 9.
Yeah, part 9 has.
Maybe I should ask the class, would y'all rather do it with the blank screen or would you rather do it with the code in it?
I'm blank screen all the way.
Blank screen?
That's
All right.
though.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm just one person.
That's one vote.
I'm the same.
Blank screen? All right. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
blank.
That's well. All right. Well, listen.
See, blank shit. Right on.
You're gonna blank that screen then. All right, well, here we are, guys.
Welcome to the
And we have arrived. So all right. So first thing we always need to do is get them HTML elements.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot for this one.
Yeah, actually, let me memory game guy right here. All right. Now the function basically was just like with the other one we started, just like with the breathe in, breathe out meditation app. We started off with the
Start button.
start button.
Is that right? Cool. So we do the start button and work backwards, or work forward, I guess. It'll be forward. I think technically it'll be forward. Yeah. All right. So now you got to set up the function for memory start, which would be const memory start to start the function. Just right. Am I right? Am I wrong? Does that sound like something that'll make sense?
Yeah, is it that memory? Is that what ID? What HTML ID? What we're attacking with? Is that the memory start? I guess is what I was.
Oh, no display on click. So
is that message board?
no, it's going. So hold on. It is if you scroll down a little bit to the end of the memory app, right there.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, that. So since we're gonna start at the start button, we're gonna have to set up that function because it's an on click, and then that function is going to start the game. So it's got to show the directions. Then after it shows the directions, it's going to after you click the directions, then it's going to hit it with the no display. Hit the message with the no display.
And so we did last time for that was a get by ID, and it did the memory start, then it did like class list or something.
Oh shoot, hold on. I think I may have misled you right quick. Hold on. I think show memory game directions or show MG directions is what we should start. Because that's what we're gonna show the message. So I think that's the actual start button function. Then we gonna
I think I see it there.
yeah.
So start right there. Okay.
So that's gonna remove the no display. And then after we remove the no display, that's gonna show that message. That div. And then the memory start should add the no display.
As a snack, as a variable, my snack.
What happened?
And we also have a Boolean, has $1.
Oh,
So
hold on, man. I
if
think
has
my
$1,
video's playing in the background. Hold on.
What?
if I don't have $1, my
Playing in the
snack
background.
is
Oh,
That's
that's a
all, just to
video.
the concept.
Oh, hey, damn, in the video playing. Oh no, man. Okay.
Is that me?
No,
that
it
was-
wasn't you.
Oh, okay. Damn, I didn't mean to do that. Dude.
No, you good. No, so the show MG directions is probably gonna have the no display remove from the my directions, the div with the ID my directions, and then memory game start is going to add that no display back to it, just like in meditation app. Yeah, just like in the meditation app.
All right, Josh. Say that one more time, Doc.
Okay.
Okay, I see the note. Never mind. I see the no display on the memory start.
Right. So the first function we probably set up is the show MG directions. Then
right
we're gonna set up the memory game start, because the memory game start is going to remove the directions afterwards.
Got you.
So show MG directions starts the game.
Got you.
It shows the directions, and then the memory game start removes the directions and shows the boxes. It should probably be. What would that be? MG board. It'll show MG board. Yeah, MG board. So memory games show show direction. So constant show directions. Show MG directions. Show Miller genuine directions, not Miller genuine. That drink. Since we ain't getting no sponsorships.
No sponsors.
No sponsors.
All right.
Right, and so that'll have what? I don't think it's gonna be an on click. It's gonna be an on click. So I didn't do the meditation app, so I don't know the exact way to do this, but I believe it's the get element by ID, or in this case we got get by ID, class list, and then display, add, and then it'll be display or no display or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, class list dot add, and then you can see what comes up. I think it'll
Okay, get.
yeah. See what properties come up once you do that.
Why is this not showing as a function from? Oh, because I forgot to.
So
Bag is killing me.
I can't use the get by ID function. What's my YouTube?
Your JavaScript might be not be late. So do get element, like spell it out, maybe.
No, that's it. Get
No,
by
that's it. What was after that though? I'm trying to go
get
off
by
from memory.
the ID of this that you're trying to get would be MG directions. MG direction. I believe in miracles. Please correct me if I'm wrong, guys and gals.
And just get y'all heads up, man. Make sure y'all capitalize that L in class list, man. That shit drove me crazy, bro.
Why is it not working for me? I'm trying to follow along, low key, and it showed not popping up. Something wrong. Add. So give ID class list. You're gonna add that.
Then you add, nah, is that it?
Yup, there it is. Add, and then what are we adding? Display. And if you add like display or something like that,
It
or
would
no
be
display.
added. It would be the on display. It would be the no display thing, right?
Yeah, I believe it'd be add no display and then off or something.
Right, because in the meditation game, basically
Let me see the syntax.
the on display was what we were removing and adding back, basically.
Yeah, so it'd be display remove or something like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
For show directions, it'd be display add. Yeah, we'll add the display. So it'll be add. And then the other one will
2 seconds, guys.
remove it and add another display for the boxity boxes. I keep forgetting what it is. Oh, add message board or MG board. I keep saying message.
No, all right. We're gonna walk through it. I'm not gonna open up the other one. We're gonna walk through it.
Hold on, I'm looking it up now. Because I forgot the syntax for it.
Nah, I was about to open up the code for the meditation app so we can kind of look at it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm finna find out the add remove display syntax right quick.
All right, you know what? I'm just gonna do that though.
Style display. No. Okay. So they got the CSS way of doing it and the JavaScript way of doing it. Holy smokes. Yeah, there's a few ways to skin this cat.
All right, so as we can see, the class list remove display none. We had to attack that display none.
But this one has a no display, and I don't think this is a class. This is no, it's not a class. So it'd be style display equals no, I think is what we're gonna end up going with. I'm gonna paste it in the you dig there. Give me one shinky. I think that's what we're gonna end up using.
All right, hold on.
Because it's not a class, it's something else. I forgot what it's called. Method operator? Nope. Something. What is it called? Let me see. It's called method. Let me see. Yeah, meta, title, link.
So in the chat, update.
Yeah, so Ours would just be style.display.no. So it is get by ID, show MG directions dot style dot display equals nully no. Oh, I'm sorry. It won't be no. It'll be show. Display.
So just because I'm trying to figure this out, the style is basically, what does that do? I'm familiar with the dot style.
But
I'm trying to.
before I go too far off, I don't want to. Here I'm going down the
We're
wrong.
going down the wrong path.
So no display, that's an attribute. I know you're trying to figure out what that was. It's an attribute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Attribute.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the no display attribute is just a different way of doing the same thing we did during the meditation. But to remove an attribute, you do this. Like I just put it in the chat. Element is like document.get element by ID.
Oh,
ATTR
darn it.
is the attribute you wanna remove. And if you wanna add an attribute, this is how you do it. In our case, so you'll do set attribute to add an attribute. You put the attribute inside of there, and the value you just make it an empty string because you don't need a value in there. It's just optional. So
Why do you make it empty string again?
because it don't have a value. If you go to if you see on line 154, it says no display right there. Like it's set equal to something. Like on click is set equal to something. ID is set equal to something. But if you just want to put it there by itself without putting it equal to something, you can just you leave the empty string inside of that the value piece where we do set attribute. So yeah, you don't have to. So there's a bunch of attributes in here, right? Like we have the on click ID and class, right? They're all set equal to something. Class equals, yeah, and no display. We don't set it equal to anything. So if we want to get that same, if you want to get class in there without a value, you put an empty string where value is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. If you go to the CSS, anytime y'all could maybe a little confused about some of the stuff, I always go to the CSS. If you do a control find no display, you're gonna see where the CSS rule is. Just do a Command F, and just type no display. It's a little bit different. It's right there, 151. The selector is a little bit different. That's how you select by attribute. You use those brackets. So anything with the attribute of no display is going to have display none as a CSS rule. So it's the same concept. It's just a different way of doing the exact same thing. So
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you can create attributes?
Yeah. Any attribute you want. You can just make one up if you want. Now, some of them have certain things like ID and class. You don't want to do the one. You don't want to do the ones that already exist. But you can create your own attributes. So yeah.
Wow. So wow. Okay. All right. All right.
It opens up a whole new world of possibility when you start to create your own. So yeah.
So I could have used the get element by ID, put the ID in, and then put .css display,
Well,
the attribute and value.
No, you do the get element by ID, you put the ID in, and then you use remove attribute on it. Remove attribute is another method on the element. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you do the element by ID, it gives you an element. That gives you back a HTML element. So you use that, you say dot remove attribute.
Yeah.
So just like on line 2 where we did dot class list, you would just do dot remove attribute like that. That's how you do it. Yeah, here's right there. And then you put the attribute name that you want to remove. You put it inside of a string inside of parentheses.
The attribute name we were trying to remove would be the non-display, right?
Yeah, no display.
No display.
Yeah. So you just type that in as a string.
So if I was to put blank, then it would show. It defaults at show.
Um, I'm not sure what it defaults to, actually. That's a, like, if you was to set the display without, I'm not even sure. It might default to something called block. And block is like, it's like how divs are displayed. So, but that's a whole nother, I mean, we don't even have to like mess around with anything like block or anything. Like, I don't see that at all used in the job. So it's no point even, but yeah, I'm not sure what the default is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, that removes it. And when you set it, you do the exact same thing. Except for set attribute, you put the attribute name and then you put an empty string. You do a comma and then do an empty string. Empty string is a
Okay.
second parameter.
Say that one more time with the empty string.
So if you
So it's basically the same thing I just did here, right? In order to add it and remove it, right?
well, yeah. What you're doing right now is removing it, right? Yeah, I was
Right.
actually do that. Yeah. So replace remove attribute with set attribute on line 3. Yeah. And then after display none, you would just put as a second, as a second. No, you can keep it. Keep what you just had, and then as a second parameter, put an empty string. So this is setting the display none attribute to an empty string to like no value at all. And it's going to show up just like we saw in the HTML where it just showed up by itself. So you remove it with line 2, you add it with line 3.
Yo, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's slick. Okay, that makes sense. Oh,
Out, man.
cool. Okay, so yeah, you might as well go ahead and copy that because we're gonna end up pasting that in memory start. Because now we're showing directions, but we're gonna remove attribute, no display. So that's gonna display it. Setting attribute. Oh, so they're doing the exact same thing, right? Isaiah?
What's your question?
Those two are doing the set attribute and the remove attribute are doing the exact same thing, right?
No.
Oh no, man. No. Set attribute is displaying it. It's actually showing it.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, they're doing the exact same thing. Yeah, they're doing the exact same thing.
No, so when you set the attribute, you're adding the attribute to it. And when you add the attribute to it, we get that display none CSS rule. So set attribute removes it from the screen. When you remove that attribute from the HTML element, it puts it on the screen. It adds it back to the screen. So
because non-display was the original state, basically, right?
right, yeah.
Removing it removes it from its original state, and then setting it back.
It removes it from the screen. Because if we go to that CSS file, the only thing that's taking them off the screen is that CSS rule, display none.
Right.
But so if it doesn't have an attribute of no display, then it shows on the screen.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. The remove attribute, we're removing no display, which is going to show it on the screen.
Right.
The set attribute is removing no display. So we're showing it on the screen.
Set attribute is adding it back. Is adding it.
Is adding no display?
Yeah. It's going to add that no display attribute to with whatever HTML element you put, you target.
Oh, with no value. Okay, with the value of blank. But since it has the no display attribute.
Right.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I see where the confusion was, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, we only put no value because on line 154 we don't see we don't see it equal to anything. But that second parameter is required. You can't use set attribute without putting that second parameter in there. Even though
we there. I'm sorry.
Cool.
My brain stopped working for a minute.
Okay, so basically with this set attribute, you're saying that it always has to take two. It always has to be the attribute and then the value, basically.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Now, honestly, you can set it equal to a value and it's still going to work because that CSS rule just says anything with a display with a no display attribute as a display none CSS rule. It removes it from the screen basically. So
That's so sick.
yeah, but we don't have to set it equal to anything because we're not using it. We can just put an empty string there because we don't, and you can target IDs the same way. Anything with IDs, do this. You can target classes the exact same way. Anything with class, anything that has a class on it, style it this way. So
Wow.
yeah.
Coding. That's why I love it so much. All right, so let's get that second. Let's get line 3 out of there. Line 3 gone. Line 3 gone. We don't need line 3. Or do we? Hold on.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we still need line 3.
Yeah, okay. But it wouldn't be show directions, would it? It'll be okay. So we're showing the directions by clicking the start button. So as soon as we click the start button, we're gonna actually display the directions on screen. So we're removing the no display from MG directions.
Right.
That should be it though. And then afterwards, we're gonna click it again, and that's gonna run memory start. And memory start should add the no display back to the directions and remove the no display from the MG board to get the game started.
I see what you're saying.
It's just one thing you missed there. So whenever you do show directions, you do have to use this remove attribute to show the directions, but you also have to hide something. The thing that you have to hide is that first screen.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to hide.
Yeah, so you need line 3, but you gotta hide whatever ID that start screen is, the ID for that.
MG home screen. Hold on. Let me not do that. Yeah, it'll be MG home screen is what we gonna hide.
Yeah, I believe that's what the name is.
Yeah, MG home screen.
So you just commented
Oh,
out.
line 127.
Yeah, when MG home screen.
In the HTML is what we gonna have to hide. Huh?
MG game home. I think I named it. I should just put home screen. But yeah, it's on line
128.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. MG home screen. I'm sorry. MG home screen. You was right.
What y'all saying? Line what?
Line 127. We're gonna hide MG home screen. So we gotta show. We're gonna show MG directions. We're gonna hide MG home screen. So we're gonna hide MG home screen first and then show MG directions.
Yeah. And MG home screen, you see it right there on line 136. That's the home screen.
Okay. It said 127 at first. I'm like, what y'all talking about?
Yeah, I think it just 127. I don't know.
My brain.
No worries. All right, so in the memory start basically is where we're gonna do the MG home screen, or is it the MG directions?
So show MG directions.
That's the first time. So 2 and 3 are good. The next one is memory start game, right? So we're putting this in there. Is that correct?
No. So show MG directions function should remove the home screen and add the direction screen. So it should remove home screen, which is so that line 3, get by ID, MG home screen, set attribute, no display to blank. No, not MG game home, MG home screen. Line 136. Is 136? Shoot, why my code different? Yeah, why my code different? That's weird.
Yeah, I figured your code was different when you said 127, but yeah, it's probably a little bit. I don't know.
On the same team now?
Yeah.
I'm probably using old code. Yeah, that's it. That's it though. And then you can delete line 4 and 5 just for OCD sake. Envy, yep. All right, cool. And so now that we did that, now we can go to MG game start. MG game start is going to remove the direction screen because we added it. So it's going to remove the direction screen and it's going to add, and I'm looking at yours now. It's going to add.
So if we're gonna be adding it back when we have to set attribute, basically, so it would be the reverse, right?
Well, we're not gonna add the home screen back. We're actually gonna add
The game start.
MG board. MG board. Yeah, we're gonna add MG board. Shit. What? Plus, what is that? Plus 9. So I think it's gonna be your line 118. Let me see. Nah. Sheesh. Scroll up some more. Scroll up some more. Ah, that's why. Okay. Okay, now I get it. Line 100, yeah. So your line 100, we're gonna add, so we're gonna remove the directions and add message board or MG board. I keep saying message, MG board, memory game board. So remove directions, okay. Get back ID. So line 9 should be get back ID, MG board, set attribute, no display, blank. Oh wait, hold on. What are we doing? Oh, nope, I got it wrong. I'm sorry. Line 8 should be get by ID, MG board, remove attribute, no display. I'm sorry. So line 8, get by ID,
Okay.
MG board, yada walk the whoop the whoop. There you go. There it is. And then line 10 and 11 can go bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, cool. So now we got the game to start. Let's you want to run it to see if we did it right? You want to try it? You can comment that element out if you want to, or delete line 14 and 15. If you want to keep them, you could just comment them out, but I don't really have to.
Got you.
Okay. You want to run it?
Yeah, hold on 2 seconds.
Make sure you save it. And then just oh, we can't see the HTML screen. We can't see your desktop, the window. You gotta drag it over there to the code side, unless you're just showing code.
Hold on, I'm trying to. I have to link this because I opened up the brand. I've opened up the brand new file. I didn't link this to my HTML joint, right?
Oh, so just click the index.html, right click it, and copy path, and then just paste it in the browser and your what do you call it, address bar or whatever it's called. Oh no. Go index.html on the left side, all the way on the left where your folders are. Yep, all the way down to it. I think that's the one that we working out of. Yeah, right click, copy path, Shift Alt C. Keep that in mind. And then literally go to the internet browser and just paste that like you do web addresses. And it'll automatically open up as long as everything is saved. Well, it'll open up anyway, but you know, it won't show the right thing if you're not saving. If you didn't save it. Possibly won't show the right thing. Make sure I say it right. We can't see the HTML, by the way. Duran.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, right up in there. Just go on, paste it and hit the enter button or return. And now we play the wave game. And then scroll down to the memory game, hit the start button and see if it does what we want it to do. If it does, woohoo. If it doesn't, oh boy. You clicked it and it didn't do nothing?
Yeah, my man's
My
not.
brain.
Actually, we didn't call it though. We didn't. What we put council.log, and we didn't call it. I think I just.
Nah,
back
so we don't necessarily have to call these functions because they have executables. So as soon like the start button has an on click, and so as soon as you click it, it's gonna run the function, whatever function that is, as long as it's being labeled right and all that. So as soon as you click the start button, it's automatically gonna start running code. So it doesn't. We don't need to call it. We can console log, but I don't for these couple lines of code. I don't think it's necessarily necessary because literally once you click the start button, you're gonna see the results. So we don't have to console log anything because you're gonna see what it's supposed to be doing. You should be able to see what it's supposed to be doing, but we not. So we know we done messed up somewhere. We know we done messed up, which the part that we probably messed up on, and I don't know if it's the case or not, but if you go back to your VS Code file, did we open the right? Is that the right index.html?
That too, and hit inspect too. See if it's showing up on there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Open up the dev tools. Whenever something don't work, I always open up the dev tools, look in the console, see if there's any errors. And if there's no errors, you can actually go through the folders and like see that you're running the right files in there inside of the source tab.
Yeah, I think that's partly the issue, right? It's because you know what I mean. I don't have the.
Yeah. Go to console real quick. Right now you're in the elements tab. Yeah. All right. So there's errors in here. So yeah. So on line 32, saying cannot read property of null.
So actually, this is good, Isaiah. Can you break down what you see when you see this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That way you can kind of get us in the mind frame of seeing like what to go to first or how to like break these down.
Right. I'll show you what I go through, but and also like there's a lecture that goes through all of this stuff also. Whenever y'all get to the whack-a-mole game, which is 2 games away, all I do is debug like the whole time. I put 20 bugs in there on purpose. Then I go through and we see all of these errors and we can guess at what's wrong. But let me see if me looking at this right. It says, okay, can I read properties of null? And it's saying memory game JS2. We see that the on the first line right there. So we know where it's at in the JavaScript file. But the thing that's wrong is this remove attribute. So I will automatically go to memory.js to line 2. You see :2, and then see if there's something wrong there or something around there that's wrong.
Y'all still with me? Y'all can see it, right?
No, I think
We looking at the browser.
yeah, I think you're just sharing your window as opposed to your screen.
Yeah, I am. My bad. Hold on.
Yeah, but when y'all get to whack-a-mole game, like y'all, I think a lot of these areas it's gonna start to make sense because I put a lot of, I mean, those areas take some time to solve.
All right, y'all with me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so line 2 is something wrong.
Line 2. And it keeps saying to remove attribute joint.
Okay, so it's saying it says cannot read property of null, right? What that means is whatever element that came back, like it's trying to read the property remove attribute, but remove attribute is not on there. It's not on whatever is being returned from get by ID. That's supposed to return the HTML element with the ID of show MG directions. So it's saying that it can't find it in there. But so let me look at
So should he
my
like copy and paste to make sure you didn't make no spelling error or nothing like that?
yeah, I feel like it might be like a spelling error or let's see, MG directions. Oh
Show.
yeah, it's called MG
But
directions, not show
Yeah,
MG.
not show MG. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what that copy paste for.
right.
And
Yeah,
it's a lowercase mg.
I
right.
did copy paste.
Did you?
Probably copy from the
Oh,
probably-
you copy paste the function, yo. That's funny.
Hey man, hold on now. Nah, it's
Yep. And then I told you to do that too. So
Lower-
that was on.
yeah, it's lowercase mg. So
You gotta make sure you do it on line 9 too. Because if you save it, they are gonna go to line 9.
exactly. Yeah, I just pasted in the ID name in the chat. If you want to copy from there. Yeah. Yep, line 2 and line 9. Yeah. So when it doesn't find something, it comes back as null. Like it's saying like no, there's nothing there, which is why I said cannot read property of null because nothing came back. So yeah, that's not
Medical doctor directions, baby. Oh yeah.
what else I doing?
it's just I don't know. It's like it's messing up the format. Put that S back and you get rid of that space. Directions plural with an S. Yeah.
In line 9.
Yeah.
Actually, let me just copy this guy.
Right. Yeah. The chat will probably messing it up.
Extra spaces and stuff like that, man.
You got an extra S in there.
Let's see.
Okay. I bet.
Cool.
Save it and run it. Let's see.
All right, look good, look good. All right, let's go right to this guy. Refreshing.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, about that life, guys. About that life.
Yeah. And then we click it again and it should show. Yeah. Look at us.
Yeah, now everybody get a deep end. Everybody get in the deep end.
Yeah, now look, yeah, I was just gonna say now we real out here. Cause we got mouse leave and mouse on. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I'm good for, guys. I'm spent. Now it's on y'all.
Yeah, does anybody want to share their screen now? You want to take this baton?
Yeah. The rest of it gonna take some real thought. So like y'all gotta
Teamwork make the dream work.
y'all gotta like you know what you want to happen. You just gotta try to make it happen some kind of way. So
Syntax it out.
yeah, I want to.
Well, hold on, man. Hold on.
Can I ask a
Hold on,
question here?
Isaiah. Hold on, Isaiah, man. Come on, man.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In terms of that what you just said,
Mhm.
I know when I was learning programming in school, they taught us to kind of create a kind of a roadmap. I forgot the terminology that they used for the roadmap, but it was essentially kind of a, writing out what exactly we wanted the app to do first. And then that would help us to kind of, figure out what code we wanted to use to, substitute for the functionality. Is that something that you do at work, or is done commonly?
So it's weird that you like say that, because like I should have had a lecture on that to be honest. That's a strategy that you're supposed to use. Now, do I do it? I don't do it. No, because like I'm good with like I've been writing this for so long. Writing the code for me is the same as writing the stuff out. But like when you're stuck and you don't know what to do, yes, that's a good strategy to use. And you can use that with comments also. Like you can say, when you click, you say when the board shows this happens, and then under that, okay, after this happens, I have to click this, and if I click something else, this other thing happens. Like it's like yeah, exactly what you said though. Write down what you want to do and then translate it to code. That's a good strategy.
Ain't that just pseudocode though?
Right, it's pseudocode, exactly. Yeah, it's like this is why I had this class. It's like y'all showing me things that I should have put in there and not just completely forgot to put in there. I'm gonna do a lecture on pseudocode.
You can't think of everything, man.
Right, yeah. It's just to weed out like all the small little things. So yeah.
Highlight top.
Oh yeah, so I do want to know, like, remember when so when the board first showed, right, the very first thing that happened was one of those boxes highlighted. Like the computer highlights a box and you got to click that exact same box. That highlight, all those highlights are inside of the CSS file. Yeah. If you go to
CSS file,
the memory game section, yeah, go to main.css and search memory. It should bring you down to the section. Okay, there you go. Scroll down. 144. So everything under there are the styles you're gonna need.
You said
yeah, 144. Those are the styles that the memory game uses. So if you keep scrolling down.
441.
441. Yeah, 441.
I
might
444, man. It's like what?
I said 144. I'm like dyslexic. Definitely did say that. Yeah, but yeah, scroll down a little bit more. There should be like some kind of highlight or something like that. So hover is one, right? Hover happens whenever you hover over a box. When you hover over a box, you want to give it that color, like that.
Okay, right here.
That you want to give it that. Yeah. And I'm not even sure if that's even inside of the starter pool. So, but that highlight is on line. Wait, scroll down a little bit more.
It's like 480.
Computer click.
The player click.
CPU
player click and CPU click.
Right, exactly.
44 and 488.
Right, exactly. So whenever the computer clicks or like simulates a click, you want to give whatever box you're clicking that class of CPU click, because it's going to give it a background color of that blue color or whatever color that is. And then you remove it after a few seconds, because it does like a flash on the screen. You add it, and then half a second later you remove it, so it looks like the computer clicked it. And then when you actually click, you want to You want to use that CPU click some kind of way. Whatever box you click, you want to give it that class of CPU of player click. I'm sorry, a player click on port 84. So those two things y'all got to mess around with. Y'all got to figure out how can I add something for a few seconds and remove it after. Well, the first thing you should do is try to figure out how to randomly select a box. There's 4 boxes there. You got to randomly select the first one. And then once you randomly select the box, you have to simulate a click on that box. And while doing that, you have to save every box that the computer clicked on, but just do it step by step. I would randomly select a box first.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the math dot random.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. We're
Yeah.
damn it. Where's the
So y'all can work on that, selecting the random box first, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Duran, you're up.
oh man. So it was math.floor, then it was math.random. Which one was first, guys?
Yeah, it was math.random.
Yeah.
Then math.floor just to make it a whole number. And
Walk me
then
through it. It was const.
just look it up in Google. What?
Yeah, I wish I had my
Generator.
I would copy and paste right now that code.
Yeah, random number generator JavaScript. And then where's my greppa? Why isn't greppa showing up? I don't dig this.
So your count should be
there it is.
CPU click and then the arrow function.
Const should be which one?
The CPU click and then your arrow function.
This is, I think honestly, this is the best way to do it. So I'm gonna paste the code for the random number generator up in
There we go.
There you go. And honestly,
There we go.
I paste that in there. Okay, CPU clicks.
Dita, whatever you're doing, please stop.
Yeah, huh? I missed it. Click memory guess game. On click memory. Make memory guess. Ooh.
Yeah, CPU click got an S at the end. You gotta take the S out.
Thank you. Doesn't feel right.
And you need to set timeout too.
Well, hold on.
Or
Wait, what are we doing? Because that function, so that function that I just supplied you with right there is a very general, like random number generator between some minimum and maximum number, which I wonder if that could be a util.js file, because I don't know. But anyway, what's up?
No, I was gonna say because the in our util.js files, we actually have that function that we have been using to get random characters and random quotes that we got from the Breaking Bad joint.
Yeah, is that in our util?
Yeah,
Utility?
it was already set up.
Or did he set it up in a function and then execute it in the function? He just called it in a very basically he created the function. So you could take that, move it outside of onClick, and it'll be defined for the rest of the like set it to a constant, set that function to a constant, and then whenever you call get random number, you can just put, in this case, it'll be between 0 and 3 or 1 and 4 if you really want to do it like that. Each box, and then I guess we can assign each of those boxes a number, like 1 through 4, top left being 1, bottom right being 4. then we could just pick a number between 1 and 4, and it'll call that random box. So if 1, it'll be top right. If 2, it'll be top. I'm sorry. If 1, it'll be top left. If 2, it'll be top right. If 3, it'll be bottom left, and if 4, it'll be bottom right. And then you can just kind of cycle, have the random number generator generate 1 through 4, and just like in the in the password generator, it'll be somewhat the same way that he built the password, because the way he built the password was very the way I did it was extremely random because I put the numbers in the pool, but the way he did it was in a pattern, funny enough. So it was capital, small, numbers, and then special characters, and it would cycle through those and pick one randomly from each one, but it would maintain the same pattern.
Okay, hold on.
So, but I think my way would be
I follow
better.
what you're saying. So basically, what you're
Because, yeah,
saying is
we wanna-
you want
we
to
wanna pull
create
it.
basically just numbers for each of these top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right dividers, basically, right? And you're just trying to get you're just trying to have it basically random through that instead of assigning them to divs, basically.
Yeah. I feel like a while function would be cool here too. I feel like a while function would be. Okay.
For a while loop, like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's not get too far ahead.
I know. I literally was just about to ask. I said.
jump in real quick. So it's a combination of what both of y'all said. Duran was on track when he said that there is something in the utils JS, and the util JS has this function here. And with what you were saying, Jay, when you were saying, okay, choose number between 1 and 4, and then like that's the random box you're gonna do. But instead, what you can do is choose a random. You can set up. Hold on, let me paste this in. You can set up an array.
Right. Those
Okay.
bottom
here we
right,
go.
bottom left. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Got the ID associated with it. So then, got it. So, but yeah.
Where is that? That's in util.js?
The first one, get random index from array. Is it there? I don't know. I got like the final code. Let me.
It is, man. You know what I mean? Because that's because we were using it twice. We used it with 2 different applications back to back.
I have not seen it. I must have an early copy of the code or something like that.
Yeah. Did you download the memory game code? If you download,
I did, but did I open it? That's another question.
Yeah, because code is being added as you go. So and I know you was building some of these projects yourself also. So like you may not have done it how I did it in the course. So yeah, I would always start from the fresh. I know it's annoying to keep downloading all these all of these starter codes, but yeah, you get all the updated stuff in.
Yeah, let me do that so I can not be behind. Talk about some line 127 and this line 136. What am I doing?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, what I just pasted is how you would do it. And I was going to just like go through this, but I think it might be even better to continue this on it's not time yet, but like, to continue this on Tuesday as well. Because I think y'all doing good with trying to figure this stuff out, and it's helping. So I don't want to like cut that cut that short or whatever. So but yeah, we'll continue with y'all trying to figure it out for the rest of the class, and then we'll meet on Tuesday, and y'all will do the same thing, and I'll finish it on Tuesday. If we don't finish it as a class, so that's gonna be the plan. But y'all can continue.
All right. See.
Yeah, so you could throw that inside of the CP clip. CP clip. How you get CP clip? Let me open up this folder, man.
Hear me out, fam.
Hold on. I'm still trying to. I'm behind. I'm still trying to open up the memory.j, the memory gang folder. So I'm in remedial class right now. Give me a second. Let me catch up.
Let me see if I can do this right quick.
Boy, I can't go one folder up. What are we doing here? There we go. Trying to make this quick, so I'm taking too long. Boom. Memory. Index.
It's
Okay, here we go. Get random index from array. I'm pretty sure this will matter. Put the get random index function above. Oh no, it doesn't matter because we're using return array index. Oh yeah, okay. I see what you're doing. Yeah, I hush. Oh, so no. Oh, wait. So what you'll do to Ryan is take that whole section, the constant MG CPU option, like highlight all of that, paste it inside of the CP click function, but above line 13. So you'll basically in between line 13 and 12. So you'll go to the end of line 12, press enter, and then paste that whole CPU options variable that you define right there. And then now let me get inside of there. Okay, cool. Right, that's your array. So now your constant index equals math.floor array.length array. So it'll be your array will be MG CPU options. So you're in, slow down. Whoa, hold on. Yeah, you don't have to do all that. You just call the function. So it'll be get random numbers between, and then you'll put your code, your quotes, colon, quotes. What do you call those? Brackets, parentheses. Yeah, and then put your whatchamacallit up in there. What are we doing?
2 seconds, and I get right away to my free, right? Free.
I think we're going over. Holy smoke, weird.
What was you saying, G?
I believe it's supposed to look. Hold on. I'm gonna paste it in the chat to see. Show you how it's supposed to look. So it's supposed to be the random number from index equals mg. I don't know what that is. Mg what? Mg get directions. Mg. Oh, CPU options.
Hold on, that I stopped looking after a while. There's an easier way to do what you're trying to do. So you don't have to use this function right here. You can just plug in. You can just use that function. I paste it in the util one, and it's going to automatically give you back a random thing from the array. Like if you literally throw in the if you literally throw that object into this function, it's gonna return a random thing from this from the array, the MG CPU options.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put it directly in that function that I just pasted, and set it equal to set a variable equal to.
That is equal to my MG CPU options.
No,
basically, what you just. I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. Slow down 2 seconds. So basically, what you just posted this in the chat, right?
Right.
Right. You said make that a function, basically.
Yeah, that's a function that's inside of the util. So you want to put as a parameter, right? Yep. MG CPU options. Exactly. Yeah. And you want to put right. Yeah. Make it a variable, right? Like option or whatever you want to call it, or box, or
we can call it random options.
Option, because it's literally it's going to choose one random thing from that array. Right. So
You gotta spell random right. Right?
That's my bad. I always spell random.
I mean, yeah, it's not. I didn't mean to say it that way.
That's just the internal thing. I always call random people randos. So that's just my bad.
That's funny.
Yeah. You can console log a random option, so you can see like it's literally going to get you a random.
Hold on. I'm missing something. This is supposed to be a function, right?
No, you good. The way you wrote it is good. I will format that a little bit different though. You can just do a right click, format document. It's going to indent those things. Loading. So maybe something here is not. It was supposed to format that. It looked like it was like loading or something like that.
It was.
I don't know why.
X actual define.
You save it
The
and then hit
circuit.
that. Is that this?
If you highlight line 13 to line 21, just highlight everything there, and then hit tab on your keyboard.
You said highlight 13 and what?
Line 13 all the way. Wait, hold on. It's something just formatted. I think it just formatted.
Yeah. I have to apologize. I have all these Adobe programs and this Unreal Engine and all this shit on here, man. So my computer be running slow.
If you got Unreal Engine on it, yeah. Okay.
All right. So console log
random option. You're gonna see that it's gonna select a random thing from that array right there. But I mean, you have to also call the CPU click function, so you can see that.
I can call them all. I can call them all together, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you can do that. I thought you was gonna paste in the variable random option. Like you pasted in a string.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Take the quotes from around random option on line 20.
Right.
Take quotation marks out of. There we go. And
For some reason that format is still off, but it's gonna work. Like it's tabbed over one too much, but it's fine.
that
We'll
is-
just see. Yeah, as soon as wait, did you call it? You already? I don't know if did you already call the function? I don't know if you already called it.
I don't believe.
You're not.
No, yeah, you gotta call that.
Is that
Yeah,
it?
see,
Is it?
yeah, that formatting is all off. I don't know what what. I guess it must have been a
Hey, man,
glitch.
stop looking at my stuff like that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, got me throwing out some conscious over here, bro. I ain't got them extra cheese stacks on my shit yet, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? It's good now, though.
Hey, don't worry, dog. I'm gonna add the extra mozzarella to my shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to get the apple joint, you know what I'm saying, and be able to smooth right through it.
Just refresh and see.
Oh, yeah, do the refresh. Got me throwing out laptop subconscious over here.
Here we go. So yeah, you see that a random string from that array, and with that, you can start to interact with the HTML because now you got the ID, which was MG top left.
Got you.
So now that you pick a random ID, so you out of top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, you got a random ID. Now you can add that CPU click class. I forgot. I think that's the name of it. The one that's in the
That's the dot class list, I think, right?
right. You can add CPU click to whatever element you just found.
So CPU options is the element that we just found, right?
Right. So what you just pulled out, right? If you look at the HTML, right, you see those four boxes right there, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. We just chose a random box by choosing a random ID. Yeah. Inside of the CSS file, well, also before we go to CSS file, notice that each of those also have a class, and the classes that it has is MG square. You see on line 104, 105. No, inside of the HTML.
I'm sorry. Inside the HTML, what
Yeah.
line?
Line 105. You see
Okay.
the class right there, MG square. You see that on all of those boxes. You see it on 105. You see it on 111. You see it on 122 and 129.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, all of them have a class of MG square, right? So go to the CSS, the main.css.
.css, all right.
Right. So we see on line 488 that anything with a class of MG square and a class of CPU click is going to get that background color. So essentially what we have to do is give whatever box we got back with those IDs, we want to give that box a class of CPU click. But we want to give it a class for a few seconds so that it looks like it was a click on the screen.
And that's why set timeout comes in.
Right. Exactly. And I will also, well, after you do that, I'm gonna tell you how to adjust it from there. But first, you can give this div with the ID of whatever random option is class of CPU click. After you do that, we can start messing around with that with this timeout.
Okay.
But also another thing is CPU click that gets fired whenever you click on the directions. Remember when you click the directions and you go to the actual board, that's when you want to call CPU click. So you can put that inside of memory game start. The
And
memory
that was
function.
that was the part that was actually confusing me because I was thinking that when we clicked on start, that the game actually started by automatically showing us the pattern that we had to emulate.
Yeah. So when you press start, the directions show first. And then after you click the direction screen, that's when the actual computer starts clicking stuff. So it's like a two-part. And when you press those directions, the function that gets fired is memory game start on line 6. That's when you remove those the direction screen and have the computer actually start clicking on stuff. So I would add CPU click after line 8. Yeah, I will call it after line 8, right?
So where is CPU click in the HTML? Or is this just something that you created? Right?
I'm gonna call it internally. So memory game start is called with the on click in the HTML, right? Whenever you
Yeah.
click the directions. So when you click those directions, this function, memory game start is going to fire. And memory game start, what that's going to do inside of it is fire another CPU click. So it's like indirectly calling CPU click by firing the CD game start function.
Oh, okay. Because I thought there was like a certain function called CPU click, but we just made that name up.
Yeah, y'all just made it up. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
I don't know what I called it in the course, but I mean, it's a good name for it.
Yeah, I like it. Yes.
Yeah, you can get rid of line 26 and 27. And so inside of CPU, you want to add a class of CPU click to option.
Add a
Remember,
class of CPU click?
yeah. So random. I'm gonna go back a little bit. So random option,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah, I see it. No, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. So random option selects a random ID. Boxes those boxes have IDs to them. It's going to select a random ID. By selecting one of those random IDs, you're selecting a random box on the screen. So line 22 random is going to be an ID of one of those boxes that's on the screen. And since you got the ID, random option is actually the ID. You do a get element by ID. You can add a class of see it on line 488 inside of main.css, inside of the CSS file. You can add that class. So first target by ID. Target by ID. We get element by get by ID.
So hold on, hold on.
Let me share my screen real quick, just so I can.
All right, go ahead.
Visual on there. You will have to stop sharing.
All right, you got it.
All right, so oh, it's here. Okay, so let me X this out. So what we already have the first two things where we click start and it goes to the directions, right? And then you're gonna click this again. After you click this again, the function that gets fired, the HTML, the function that gets fired is mg game start. So we're gonna click that. And then after we click that, you saw that this box had highlighted for us. It highlights or after we click that, we want to in the box. We want to click the top left, bottom left, or bottom right.
I can barely hear you out there. You're kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it better? There's somebody that's not on mute. Background. Am I better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yeah. I just muted someone, so that's why we can hear us now. But anyway, so let me refresh this. I'm just going to start this, and what we have so far is we press the start button, and then we get to this directions, and then we have to click this direction screen. When we click that direction screen, we're firing G game start. That's the function that we're going to fire. So I'm going to click that, and it fires it, and it shows this screen. Also notice that this flash, like this bottom right box flashed. The reason that flashed is because the very first thing we had to do was select a random box. There's 4 boxes here. We had to select a random one. The way we select a random box is we kind of do a trick with that math.random, where we put all of these IDs inside of an array. The array is I'm gonna just go to the code so y'all can see it. This is that array. Remember this one? These options, we literally put this inside of that function. This one here, get random index from array, and we got like y'all named it. I think I named it like random option or something like that. Like on my side, I'm just naming it like this. This is literally like the ID. This is like this is like the computer's move. That's why I put move here. So we got a random thing from this array. All of these strings represent the IDs of these boxes. So what we essentially did was pick a random ID between all 4 of these boxes. After we pick that random ID, we save it into a variable. I named mine move. And shoot, mine's a little bit different. So I named mine move. There's a lot of logic in here, but where y'all at right now is whenever you have move, yeah, mine's I don't want to make this look confusing. Hold on, let me write some of this stuff because I tied a lot of these functions together. This is what y'all have. What y'all name it? Random option.
Yeah.
Option. Separate all this so that we can see just this random option. This represents a random ID. From there, we can do the get element by ID. We want to pass in that ID, right? These are all IDs of those boxes. After we get the ID, we want to add a class.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. I was trying to figure out like what the hell were you telling me? Okay, I got you.
Yeah. It's because I didn't have a visual, but yeah.
Nah, it's cool. I got you.
Yeah. So you want to? Okay. Oh, we're at 12, right? We're at 12. So I'm gonna quickly finish off this thought, and then we'll just answer we'll answer any questions and like meet on Tuesday. But yeah, from here, I mean y'all probably follow down. You want to add the class of what was it? CPU click to this. And the reason that works, and it was a little confusing. The reason this works is because these boxes with these IDs also they also have let me just do this. Okay. These boxes, they have the ID. So we got access to this HTML element, but it also has this class. All have these classes of ng squared, and anything with a class of ng squared and a class of CPU click gets this background color. That's why we're adding the class of CPU click to the box, because we want to change the background color. It's like bluish, just like blue color here. So that's why I added it right here. And we only want to add this after, we want to add that, and then after like a few seconds go away, like I was saying, use that set timeout. Let's say like half of a second or something like that. I'm just gonna put like 500 here. We want to remove that class. So we added it to change the color, and then we removed it to put the color back to where it was initially. And this is how we like simulate like a click. That's how we got that click on the screen. Like that just happened. These blue clicks is literally adding it for like half a second and then removing it. So that's that for the click. Any questions on that? Okay, so it is you don't have to stay, but if you have questions, I'm gonna stay until like all of the questions are answered. But for those who don't have questions, I'll see you on Tuesday, and where we'll continue the memory game app as a class, and we'll finish it off also, because I'll like halfway through, I'm just gonna go through and like finish the rest, because there's a lot of code to explain. So yeah, any questions?
So in terms of difficulty, like on a scale from newbie to expert, now let me quit, on a scale from like 1 to 10,
Yeah.
what would you rate this memory game?
Yeah. So if I was to say where y'all at right now, the scale of difficulty, I would say this is probably like a 9, like an 8, 9. It's definitely difficult. The reason it's difficult is because like you have to like creatively make the computer do something. It's like you have to like be innovative in a sense, or like try to be like tricky or whatever to solve all of these problems. Not only you gotta be tricky, like you have to save, you literally save all those clicks that the computer is doing. And now you have to save those. Now you got to keep track of what the player is clicking also. Like there's a lot of moving part for just this one app. So yeah, I would say like an 8 or 9, maybe even a 10 for some. So
if I can code this, then that means that I'm at a decent level.
yeah, if you can code this, you can pretty much make any game you want to make. Like you can make up your own logic for a game, because the same principles that's in here is the same like for really any game. Like if you can solve this, you can build anything like that. So in my opinion, especially if you go through and solve the tic-tac-toe game, that one definitely helps. But yeah, this memory game, yeah, it says something if you can do it by yourself.
Understood.
Yeah, and I would recommend going through the memory game video also. Like you, in my opinion, like for me anyway, like I learn best when I see somebody else do it. Like after I see somebody else do it, I can then take what they're doing and then get my own in a way. Or like after I see somebody else doing it, maybe I can like start from scratch again and then do it myself to make sure I actually got the concepts. Like that's my recommendation. Now you can start from scratch if you want and try to go through it, but it's going to take some real thought behind it. Only reason I'm able to even do it is because I've done some of the things. So like it's like business like as usual for me. But like seeing it for the first time, I do recommend just going through the video and then doing it by yourself after, because you're not going to understand it if you don't do it by yourself, especially not this one. Yeah, and you don't even have to use the logic that I use in the course. You can use your own logic. It's really up to you. more than one solution to solve the same problem.
So at this point, is it better to start trying to do these apps by ourselves, even if we like watch the video, but basically just try to do them after what, like basically go in, watch the video, then try to project from scratch ourselves? Or
Right.
should we kind of stick to what we've been doing and either follow along on a video or, you know?
Yeah, I was just about to note that. Yeah, when I mean watch the video, I mean follow along with the video, like code as I code through the video, so that you can understand what I'm doing. And if you completely understand, I want to go back and try to do it yourself. 9 times out of 10, you're going to do a little different than what I did it in the video. You're going to remember some parts, but some of it you're going to be thinking, you're going to be making your own solutions up. And that's where you want to be. You want to make your own solutions up, because now you really get to see that, like, my solution is not the best, first of all, and it's definitely not the only solution. Yeah, so watch the video, follow along, and then go back, do it yourself.
So what makes you consider a code the best code? Like, what makes a solution the best solution?
Yeah, the best solution is like a solution most people can read, I would say. Me looking at my code, like me just now looking at my code again, I'm looking at it like, yeah, I have to actually go through and what I'm doing here. Like, I wrote it and I have to go through and make sure I understand what's going on. So the best code is like readable code. Yeah, there's no one way of doing it. Yeah, there's no one way of doing things in code. It's multiple ways, whole bunch of different ways. But yeah, what I should have did in my code, I should have separated some of this stuff out. Let me share my screen so I can give you a better idea. Like, I'm looking at this function right here, right? Like, first of all, this function is bigger than I said a function should be. I said it should be 10 lines, and it's not 10 lines. It's more than that. What I should have did was separate some of this stuff out, because this function just don't do one thing. Like, it makes the CPU, it makes the move for the computer, but it also does things in between. Like, there's steps that I have to do to make the move for the computer. And I should have broke all these steps out into smaller functions. Like this one's fine, because it's only like, you have a few one-line functions. Those are fine. But those, like even this, maybe I could have put some of this stuff into its own function, so I can say exactly, okay, that function is doing this specific thing, or whatever. But yeah, that's good code. But this function here, this is not a good function. I could redo this.
So good code is easy to read and, I guess, formatted well,
Right.
easy to read, easy to follow.
Right.
That would be considered good code.
Right. And the name is descriptive. Like, I should be able to tell what the function is doing. Like me reading the code should be optional. Like, okay, show MG directions. I know exactly what that's doing. It's showing the directions. Now, it's for me, that's obvious. I mean, for some people, it may not be, but it's a very descriptive name. Highlight CPU move. Without reading the code, I already know what this function does. It highlights the move for the computer. CPU move, this is not descriptive. Like, I mean, I look at this, I see this, and it kind of sounds the same. So I could have made this name more descriptive. Memory game start. Maybe I could have said click start button or something like that. Like, click start button would say, okay, clearly this is fired when I click the start button. Like that should have been the name of this. Something very clear. So on and so forth. All these function names should be very descriptive without you even reading the code. You shouldn't have to go through all the code. You should just be able to read the name and say exactly what it do. So
That makes sense. No further questions, Your Honor.
cool. Yeah, good questions though.
Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome. Any other questions? And if y'all haven't already, I know most of y'all have. Most of y'all already rated me on the course. Like if y'all have already rated me, like just give me 5 stars. Like people starting to give me like not people from the class, but people from like whatever give me like 4 stars and like 3.5, and like the 5 stars I get here is going to average that stuff out to be higher. So and I need high I need a high rating, like not 4.5, like 5 stars if y'all can, for those who didn't already rate the course. So
I give you a 9.
I was selling more. I was selling more when I was 5 stars, and now like my sales starting to go down because it's like people starting to give me lower scores. So yeah, I'm 4.8 right now, but 5 star and 4.8 is like, it's a big difference in the Udemy world. They'll rather buy a 5 star course than a 4.8 course. So,
You can only rate it one time.
and you can re-rate it also. Like if you didn't already rate it 5 stars, or like I don't know, you want to go back and whatever, you can re-rate it. You should be able to let me show you real quick. To rate a course again or to redo it, I'm gonna go to one of my courses and rate re somebody else's course, obviously. But to do that, you click these dots right here, and then you go to edit your rating. You click that, and you can edit whatever, edit review. You can add more stars, and put like some stuff here. And when you write stuff, like those are way more than just getting 5 stars. Like even if you put like nice or, or whatever, or good job, like these are weighted more than just putting stars. Maybe I can go through and just put good job or whatever, or best instructor.
I rated and commented the first time, so re-rating it 5 stars is not going to change it because it's
Right.
just editing the rate you already put in.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
You're good. Like for those who didn't add a comment or whoever didn't add 5 stars, then you can just re-rate it that way. Yeah, I think that's the only thing. With these dots and then press edit rating. Any other questions?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just work on a memory game today. I didn't start on that yet, so I'll do that over today. Be ready by Tuesday.
Cool.
I have a quick question. So, like with us being new, I'm not sure about everybody, but me, this is like my first introduction into tech in general and learning this stuff. So I know like even if like I felt pretty okay as far as like my confidence level, but I know that my probably like my nerves or anxiety might get to me when I'm starting the actual job. Are they going to be like, well, I mean, you're not the actual employer, so you can't really speak for them, but based off your experience, are they a little more understanding to that? Or is it like because there is some kind of probationary period that they expect you to be like on your game?
Yeah. Good question. So two parts to this. When you're completely new, they know that you're new. Like there's no like hiding it first. So like they're not going to expect much more of the story. When you're completely new, what they do a lot of time is they give you like quote unquote like grunt work or like work that they don't want to do, like tedious work. That's the best word for it. It's coding, it's all coding, but it's tedious stuff. And they'll give you a task, but a lot of times when you first there, they don't expect you to do anything for the first like 3 months. Like even me, like when I joined JP Morgan, and that's the other in this. Even though you're a professional, like or you've been doing it for a few years, they don't expect to see anything from you for a good 3 months. And I know it sounds crazy, but it does take that long. First of all, it take like a week or maybe even 2 weeks to get your stuff set up. Like we with our code, we download it from Udemy and then run it on VS Code. But on a job, there's way more steps that you got to do because you got to connect to different databases. You got to connect to the back end. You got to make sure your app is in the right space. And all of these, like all the stuff I'm saying right now, like they're going to show you how to do all that stuff. And it takes some time to do all of that stuff. So that's one. So it takes you about 2 or 3 weeks to even do that, to be honest. And then after you do that, you have to start looking at the code, like get yourself familiar with it, play around with it. And that's going to take you a good month, maybe even 2 months, depending on how complicated the app is. And they're not going to expect much out of you for a good like 3 months. Like you're new, like, and honestly, I would say 6 months, to be honest. Like I would go as far as saying 6 months because I didn't do anything until like 4, maybe even 5 months. So I'm just getting paid to just learn their system at this point. So yeah, they don't expect much from you. They shouldn't expect much from you. And if they do expect a lot from you, especially from a beginner, that means that you're probably the first developer they have. Like they don't know how this stuff works. Like but if you work for a company that already has developers, they know that like you're not about to do anything significant. For it's good 3 months, maybe even 6, depending on how complicated things are.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about it for a while, but I'm gonna finally ask because that's been on my mind lately. Because of course, we want to go right into this type of work after the course is over.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and you can, but I mean, when you get and just for a preview also, I don't know if I already told y'all. I feel like I hinted at it or I kind of mentioned it. After we get through this course, like we're gonna get through this like relatively quick. Like I want to get through this before May, like the whole thing. And then like the whole month, like March, in the whole month of May, we're gonna be learning something called React. That's like an advanced version of JavaScript. Like all this stuff that we're doing in JavaScript right now, it's gonna make all of that stuff easier. But we have to learn JavaScript like the harder way right now because it's going to help you. It like the easier way to write in JavaScript is not actually easy unless you understand the hard stuff. So it's like you got to understand the fundamentals before you can go and try to jump to like a more like I should say more structured way of JavaScript, which is React. We're going to spend a whole month on just React. Like we may build 1 or 2 projects, but most of the time we're going to be focused just on that. And then when you go to start looking for jobs, let's say like June or July, or even May, honestly, when we learn in React, be able to put that on your resume, and then you're gonna look so much better than everybody else because you have React, and then you have all these you have 16 projects now, because we got that last project that I'm working on now. You have 16 projects plus React under your belt. You come into a job interview with 16 projects plus no React, you pretty much almost guaranteed to get hired. Like you just got past the interview at that point because most people don't even have that. Like it's crazy like how underqualified most people are that actually apply for the job. So yeah, just a quick roadmap for y'all. That's what we're gonna do.
okay.
So far, like we got HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then we're gonna have React as well.
Right, exactly. And React is JavaScript. It is JavaScript, but it's a structured way of writing JavaScript. It keeps everybody standard. You know how it's like multiple ways of writing the same code? With JavaScript, it's standardized in certain practices. So even though your code may look different than somebody else's, it's gonna look the same for the most part because there's a standard way of writing some of the stuff. Like and that whole like get element by ID, that stuff goes away. Like you never see that again. Not with React, because React, you have an easier way. And honestly, and Jay, you had, I think you was I don't know if you, I think you was like kind of playing around last time you was talking about I think you and Duran was talking, and like he had put HTML and JavaScript, or like somebody had put some JavaScript, like you have React, you have HTML inside of JavaScript. Like there's no more separate files. Like all that stuff is in the exact same file. And the way to do it is like it's different. And it's you're gonna see the power behind using React. Because when we get there, you'll see it though. It's a lot better than how we're doing it now.
I'm just curious on the timeline of React. Like, when did that first like come into play? Because I know all of this stuff is like an evolution. Like, when did that pop up?
So I'm not sure the exact date React, but when I first started seeing it, like when I first noticed it, it was back in 2015, 2014. It was like fresh. It was like new. And then more and more companies started using React over time. But before React, so let me go back. So at first it was just vanilla JavaScript, right? And then people started saying, hey, vanilla JavaScript is what we're doing now. Like, no JavaScript. They say vanilla JavaScript. When you have vanilla JavaScript, there's no structure. It's like, some people say like, it's like you in the web. It's like you can do anything you want. Like, it's no structure behind it. And because there's no structure, it makes the code really, really messy. So let's introduce a structure to it. So they came up with this JavaScript framework, or like a structured way of writing JavaScript. I'm not sure what the first one was, but there was a lot of them before React. There was something called Backbone.js, something called I think Ember.js, something called
jQuery the same?
yeah, jQuery, exactly. Yeah, jQuery. When jQuery came out, like people was like, yo, I can't even believe we can do this. Like it makes JavaScript so easy. But now people don't even use jQuery anymore, because jQuery, everything jQuery can do, JavaScript can do by itself. So this is them building on top of the language over time. Angular, React, no, Angular.js came out. That's another framework, or it's called a library actually, because it has more stuff in the framework. Frameworks are like small versions of libraries. The library has everything. A framework is like a section of the library. In JavaScript, in React is like a section of the library. It's like a very specific like part. Anyway, React came out, Angular came out, React came out. You have something called Vue.js that came out right after. You have there's a whole bunch of different frameworks, but the ones companies hire for, the ones they most hire for is React, and then it's Angular, and sometimes it fluctuates between the two. But React is like a big one. That's like everybody's hiring for that, because
What about Node.js?
Node.js is JavaScript.
So remember, we did our fingers right. So you need 5 fingers.
So Node.js is JavaScript on the back end. It's still a framework, but it's a backend framework. It gives you extra functionality, like you can create files on your computer. You can delete files on your computer. You can access databases. You can access different servers from Node.js. You can like hash passwords. Like if you put your password into a website, it does not save your password as your password. It encodes it, or it makes like random characters from your password to hide your actual password. So Node.js can like hash passwords and then take the hash password and then turn it back to your real password. Like it can do, like there's certain things back-end languages have to do. And Node.js fills that gap, basically. It helps you do all of those things.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. And even React.js, like there's so many sub things of React.js. There's something called Next.js. It's basically, you know how we do the front, like there's a front end and a back end. Right now we're working on the front end where we have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But Next.js is React.js. It's like a subset of React.js. And you can do everything from the back end. You don't even have to have a front end. And everything comes from the server onto the computer, like the backend server onto the computer. And that it's not always like the best, but like depending on the situation, you may want to bring in stuff from the back end to the front end, like security reasons. So there's a lot of different progression between different languages, different frameworks, different libraries. It's been going on for a while, and there's always something new coming out. But React is the best one. There's it's hands down. Like no one's hiring more than for React jobs. So
It's just so interesting how quickly it moves, and my feelings would be so hurt if like I was the person who just got completely knocked out because React dropped, and then no one's using like jQuery anymore. Like it just becomes so irrelevant so quick.
yeah, I get you. It's not gonna drop. Let me tell you. So JP Morgan, they just told us. So we had apps in Angular JS and React JS. They told us we can't use Angular no more. They said like we only using React from now on. And like there's a reason why we don't use React, because it has everything that we need, and it's relatively easier to learn than Angular JS. So React JS is not going anywhere. Like as long as the big companies are using it like as their primary language, like it's never going to go anywhere. It's too hard for us to drop React. What you would literally have to do is recode all of the apps that you already built for a company. And apps take more than a year to build. It takes like a year or two to build. I've been building this app at my job for like a year and a half now, and I'm still not finished. Like we're still working on it. Like to say, hey, we just gonna stop it. We just gonna completely drop it. Like that's so much time. That's so much like effort. There's money involved. Like there's all that planning. Like you can't. It's almost like rebuilding a building. At that point, no one's gonna drop React no time soon. But there's always gonna be new stuff coming out. And don't get don't get like don't get like don't be like most people and try to jump to something new, because jumping to something new, it may be exciting, but you're not get paid for something that's new. You're only going to get paid for the stuff that's like cemented into those big companies, and React is one of them. So.
Are you going to teach us any other languages?
Just React for now.
Okay.
I want to do Python, because Python is big also, but I don't feel like I'm good enough in Python to teach it. Now I can teach the basics, but like all of these like questions, like there's so many questions that I won't be able to answer. So but
That's
Python,
still pretty new. Like I feel like in terms of the game of coding, right? Python, like it's been around, but I feel like not a lot of people have mastered it yet.
right? Yeah, it's still developing. They had this JP Morgan all last year. They had a push for people to learn Python. Like they gave us all of these courses. They gave us all this incentive to learn Python because they want people to learn it. And like you have machine learning coming out. I mean, machine learning is already here, but machine is really good with machine learning. It's really good with like data science. It's really good with like artificial intelligence. And that is where the internet is. And that is the direction that we're going to continue to head down. So Python is one of the best languages for that, because it's really, really good with calculations. In JavaScript, once you get past a certain decimal place, like it doesn't calculate for you anymore. Like there's a limitation to what JavaScript can do. But Python, mathematicians mathematicians like are ones that like the ones that like influence Python the most. So they have all of like the advanced like and the advanced like mathematical concepts in order to like that's required to do all of this artificial intelligence, data science, stuff like that. So Python, it has been around, but it's still developing and it's not going to go anywhere because it's better than a lot of programming languages. I won't even say it's in JavaScript to be honest, but JavaScript not going nowhere either because every browser has JavaScript in it, and you're not about to recreate every browser. Chrome is about to rewrite the code behind it because some other thing came out. Because now you got to rewrite everything. It's a business move basically. So JavaScript is always going to be here. Python is always going to be here also.
It reminds me how like with my job where they don't want to switch to a brand new like software or platform operating system just because like you said, it's like a good business decision. It's working.
Yeah.
We don't need to like do this whole overhaul and spend all this money and then on top of that, get everybody trained in it.
Right.
So we're always asking for an update because we've like, if you've been with other carriers, you see better operating systems and platforms, but they're like, we don't need to, that's going to cost a whole lot of money. And then we have to send everybody back to training.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah.
So
I mean, I would say
basically,
that
if
some
it ain't
companies,
broke, don't fix
go ahead.
it.
Go ahead. You can.
Oh, I was saying, so basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
To an extent, and that's why I was just about to chime in on. Like, there's a point where you have to upgrade. Like, because if you're not upgrading, the competition is gonna get by you. Like, there's no like there's no choice at that point. Like, people don't move unless they have to. So when something new comes out and it fills in all of the gaps plus more of something else, something has to be significantly better than something else for people to hop onto it. It can't be a little bit better. It has to be significantly better. And if it's significantly better and your competition is using it, then you might want to invest in training your people, rebuilding your apps, or rebuilding the ones that actually matter anyway in those languages. So while you want to keep it the same, you want to make sure you're using like the latest and greatest stuff. So it's a balance, really.
This
Yeah.
is true because, with some hospitals and medical facilities, their operating systems, I've seen some, I won't say Windows 98, but they're still on Windows XP for some reason. And
Outdated.
then, yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
some hospital systems they've already switched over. So yeah.
Yeah. When I was at the hospital, our problem was that we was trying to use like the latest stuff, but people were still using Internet Explorer, and like like no one uses Internet Explorer. And if you do use Internet Explorer, so much like Chrome is so much better than Internet Explorer. It's like you're doing yourself a disservice. So we had to switch everybody to Chrome because they were so Internet Explorer, and what's it called? Was it? I have to jump. Okay, yeah. Yeah, if you have to jump off, like let me know. Oh, and I'm gonna end it in like a minute. Also, I gotta do some stuff, but yeah, hospitals are outdated, and I experienced that for sure. One question, and I gotta head out.
About how long is the course again? Just like what? Yeah, like
until
when is this? When is this wrapping up?
like June, the beginning
Oh,
of June, right? The whole month of May is React, and then we done from there.
oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know if it said it anywhere, so I was wondering.
It didn't because I wasn't sure how fast the class was going to be going through, but I knew I wanted to teach React, and I mapped out. I looked at the calendar and I was like, okay, on these days we're going to do all of this, and by the time we get through all of it, we're going to be in React. And let's say we fall behind a little bit, I'm just going to skip projects. Like I'm only going to go through the relevant projects, and then we're going to make sure we get to React. Like that's the goal. In May, it's going to start in May, and then the whole month of May we do React, and then we're done from there. All right. I'll see everyone Tuesday. Yeah, we'll continue the memory app on Tuesday. All right.
Have a good day.
All right. See ya.
Thanks.
Yep.
See ya.
See ya.